So the first spiritual law of success is the law of pure potentiality. So I'm going to read a little bit of the book and talk about it as well. The first spiritual law of success, the law of pure potentiality, says that our essential state is one of pure potentiality. Pure potentiality is pure consciousness. It is the field of all possibilities and infinite creativity. So it's very important that Deepak Chopra lays this principle down as the first law, because this offers the groundwork for understanding all of the other laws. And it is based upon a very fundamental understanding. And that understanding is the fact that all things, all experiences, all material objects, everything in the universe springs forth from an unmanifested field, an invisible field of pure potential, of infinite potential. And this field is essentially pure consciousness. This is what we also may think of as God, as the prime mover, as the very first essential cause of all things. And so a very important thing to understand about this field of consciousness, this substrate of all things, is that we, our essential nature, who we really are at our core, is one and the same with this field. And so when we realize that, we can tap into this field of infinite possibility, because we are infinite possibility at our very core. And so there are ways that we can access this infinite possibility according to the first law, the law of pure potentiality. And the number one way that we can access being who we truly are and having access to all of what that means, the first way that we can access that is through the practice of meditation and mindfulness. Meditation and mindfulness is the gap between thoughts. It's the stillness from which we can access that field, because that field is stillness, it is silence, it is unmanifested potential. And that unmanifested potential is only accessed if we can still our minds. So he likens the idea of creating from this field of potential to dropping a very small pebble into a placid lake. So if a lake is really still, you can drop the smallest pebble in, and those ripples will emanate from that place where you drop that pebble, and they will reach all the way out to the extremities of that lake. So what he says is that if we introduce even the slightest intention into a practice that is grounded in stillness, in the practice of regular communing with our essential nature through stillness, through meditation, through mindfulness, even that small intention is like that stone. When dropped in, it will be able to reach out into all of creation and bring back whatever it is that we need in order to fulfill our desires. It reaches all the way out into the extremities of who we are, which is infinite potential. And it can basically fold space and time and all circumstances in our favor to bring us what it is that we intend. Another way that we can access the field of infinite possibility to bring about that which we intend is through practicing non-judgment. And the reason for that is akin to what I just spoke about with the stone that is dropped into a placid lake. Judgment causes turbulence in that lake. And so if you think about dropping anything, it could be as big as the Empire State Building, into a very turbulent lake or a very turbulent ocean, you don't really notice any difference. And so the practice of coming to stillness And the practice of non-judgment is a place from which we can then introduce our intentions in a way that it will bring it back to us in the form of the manifestation of that which we intend. Another way that we can access the field of pure potentiality is through spending time in nature. So he says that the reason for that is that by observing nature, we begin to sense the harmonious interaction of all the elements and forces of life. The lavish display of abundance in the universe is an expression of the creative mind of nature. So just by tuning into the mind of nature, you will access the field of pure potentiality and infinite creativity and spontaneously receive creative thoughts. So just like with meditation, with non-judgment, we are able to calm the lake of our mind and introduce our intention. When we are able to spend time in nature, we are able to see, witness, and observe the harmonious way that reality, that the field is creating all that is natural. And so we are actually tapping into that creative mind when we spend time communing in nature. So to sum up the first law, the law of pure potentiality, it really just comes down to really understanding and knowing and discovering who we really are. It is when we realize that we are not this body, we are not this individual person, that we are one and the same with the infinite field of all potential, infinite potential that we can create effortlessly from that standpoint through aligning ourselves with that field through the practice of silence, through the practice of non-judgment, and in communing with nature and observing the processes that are unfolding effortlessly from that field of infinite and pure potentiality.